Welcome to Slow American English, the podcast for learners of American English. I'm your host, Karen Tolliver. This is episode number 47, President Abraham Lincoln. Before we begin, if you like this podcast, please become a patron. For only $1.25 per month, you get natural speed recordings for each episode. For $2.50 per month, you get the natural speed recordings plus exercise worksheets for each episode, including answer keys. To become a patron, visit www.patreon.com/slowamericanenglish. Also, you can buy Slow American English workbooks on Amazon.com. Workbooks contain all the transcripts and exercise worksheets for each episode for an entire year, 12 episodes in each workbook. In addition, you can become a website subscriber for free at www.slowamericanenglish.net. Find free transcripts there, plus links to become a patron and to buy the workbooks. Subscribe to the podcast feed via Apple Podcasts, Android, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and any other RSS feed reader. Contact me directly via email at info@slowamericanenglish.net. Now for the podcast. Abraham Lincoln, 1809 to 1865, was the 16th President of the United States. He was president during the Civil War, which I spoke about last month. To fully understand Lincoln's presidency, you should listen to last month's podcast first. Lincoln has become a mythical figure in America. Here are some common facts about Abraham Lincoln that are part of American culture and language. Abraham Lincoln's family was very poor. He was born in a one-room log cabin in Kentucky. As a child, Lincoln attended school on only 3 occasions and only for a few months each time. In total, he had about 1 year of formal schooling. However, he read everything he could and taught himself many subjects. He had many jobs as a young man. He worked on a farm, he split rails for fences, and he was a shop owner. He was a soldier, a postmaster, and a surveyor. He also worked on a boat on the Mississippi River. He and his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, had 4 sons. However, only one of them lived long enough to become an adult. Abraham Lincoln was always calm, very ambitious, extremely smart and focused, and very patriotic. He is known for his wisdom and humor, and he was a very good storyteller. Abraham Lincoln was very tall, 6'4", thin, awkward, and homely. He had a beard and often wore a stovepipe hat and black coat. His picture appears on the U.S. 1-cent coin and on the $5 bill. At 24, Lincoln was elected to the Illinois General Assembly, the state's legislature. Abraham Lincoln studied law books and became a lawyer when he was 27. Without going to university, he passed the bar exam, which is the certification lawyers must have. He practiced law in Springfield, Illinois, the state's capital. He was a very good lawyer. As part of his law career, he traveled a lot while working for the Illinois State and U.S. Circuit Courts. Because of his fair treatment of people, he earned the nickname Honest Abe. Because he freed enslaved people with the Emancipation Proclamation, Lincoln is known as the Great Emancipator, too. Lincoln believed that the USA should remain one country and that it was his responsibility to keep the Union together. He was also strongly against slavery. When he was elected, some Southern states seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy. Then came the Civil War. While Lincoln was president, the first income tax was put in place. The university system was begun, and the Homestead Act was passed, which gave land in the West to settlers. Also, while in office, Lincoln created the Department of Agriculture and made Thanksgiving a federal holiday. Lincoln gave many famous speeches. His Gettysburg Address begins, "407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal." In another famous political speech, he borrowed from the Bible and said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand," which means he believed the only way for the U.S. to survive was to be one nation, not two. Lincoln's second inaugural speech is inscribed on the wall of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. In part, Lincoln said that the U.S. should rebuild itself after the war with malice toward none, with charity for all. Lincoln served as president for only 4 years, from 1861 to 1865. While watching a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, a supporter of the Confederacy. The Civil War had ended only 5 days before. Abraham Lincoln was 56 years old when he died. He is buried in Springfield, Illinois. That's the podcast for this time. Slow American English is written and produced by Karen Tolliver. Copyright 2018. All rights reserved. For a free transcript and to subscribe to the podcast, visit www.slowamericanenglish.net. You can also subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, TuneIn, and any other podcast feed reader. Theme music for this podcast is written and performed by S.W. Campbell and used by permission. Find more music by this artist at www.soundclick.com/SWCAMPBELL. This has been Slow American English. I'm Karen Tolliver. Thank you for listening.